Hi, MegaPodZilla's Krazy Joe, and back to talk more Christmas shows. Last video talked about favorite Christmas movies, and I mentioned that on the next MegaPodzilla podcast, we were going to have Rick Goldschmidt, the Rankin Bass historian, to talk about the classic Rankin Bass holiday specials. And that's true. That is coming up on the MegaPodzilla podcast. So let's talk about some favorite Christmas specials, and I brought a few to talk about right now. This is the Muppets Letter to Santa. I mentioned on the last show I'm a huge Muppets fan. This is one of many Muppet TV Christmas specials. I watch this one just about every year. But this is not the most important one. Let me show you what's in here. In addition to the Muppet Letters to Santa, I have a bootleg in here, if you can see it, of A Muppet Family Christmas. A Muppet Family Christmas was a TV special that aired in the late 80s, early 90s, used to air every year on CBS. Jim Henson was actually involved in it. It was one of the last ones he did before he died. Let me straighten the camera out here. I really need to buy a tripod. That is going to be on my to-do list for 2017 for sure. Get a tripod. But Muppet Family Christmas, they don't air it anymore. Ever since the sale to Disney, it just doesn't air anymore. Probably because of all the characters involved. Now, Disney got the rights to the Muppets. Disney owns the Muppets. Disney does not own Fraggle Rock or Sesame Street. And at the time that special was made, Jim Henson had control over all those characters, and all of them are in the special. The Fraggles and the Sesame Street gang join up with the Muppets, and they all end up at Fozzie's mother's farmhouse for Christmas. So it's a big crossover, and as a result, we may not see an official release of that ever again. Now, there have been official releases. I have a bootleg. The reason I have a bootleg is because even when there were official releases available on DVD and VHS, they always cut scenes out for music licensing rights. For example, Fozzie the Bear builds a snowman, and they do a rendition of Sleigh Ride that has been cut out of every home video release. So I have this bootleg that is completely uncut. It will be nice if we can get an official uncut DVD or Blu-ray. It's highly unlikely, so I'm stuck with my bootleg for now. And the shame of it is, it's the best Muppet special of them all, and I'm stuck with a bootleg. Muppet Family Christmas. So that's one. Now, this is one, while I'm talking to Rick Goldschmidt on the podcast, you'll hear me mention how a lot of the newer specials, they lack that magic that the Rankin and Bass specials had. When was the last time you saw a really, really good new holiday special? It's rare. This is one from around '09 that did it. Disney's Prep and Landing. This is great. This is really, really great. And there's a sequel on here. A couple years later, they made a sequel that wasn't as good called Prep and Landing Naughty versus Nice. That's also pretty good. It's got its moments. Not as good as Prep and Landing. I remember when I watched Prep and Landing, I thought, wow, I can't remember the last time I saw a new Christmas special this good. This is destined to be a holiday classic. And unfortunately, it kind of hasn't become a holiday classic. It's one of those things that came out, it aired on ABC a couple times, and now it's mostly forgotten. You can get the DVD, the Blu-ray, but I don't hear people talk about it too much, and I think that is a shame. It really deserves to be one of the classics. So, there you go. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love He-Man, and you need look no further than right over here. I have a display case just filled with Masters of the Universe figures. Couple different Castle Grayskulls. There's the one from the 2000s. There's the one Matty Collector just put out a couple years ago. Big He-Man fan. So it should come as no surprise to you that on my list, and let's be honest, this is no great special. It really isn't. but it's great to me because I have a lot of sentimentality behind it. He-Man, She-Ra Christmas Special. I think this first aired in '87. Maybe it was '86. Pretty sure it was '87. But this was kind of like, this was almost like, I could be wrong on this. I'm sure someone who's even more knowledgeable than Masters of the Universe than myself will probably correct me on this, but this may have been the final He-Man or She-Ra production. I don't know if they did any additional episodes of the series after this. This sort of may have been the last hurrah, but everyone is in it. There's all the He-Man characters, all the She-Ra characters. Now, some of them don't get much screen time. They may only be like lighting, like Snout Spout puts the star on the tree at the end, little things like that. So it's not like they're all spotlighted heavily. But don't quote me on that. I'm sure everyone isn't in there. I don't think Manny Faces is even a face in the crowd in that one. So it's not, but it's almost everyone. And I love that. And my wife loves it. And that's the thing. One of the great things is when we were dating, we immediately, early on, found out that we shared this mutual love of He-Man and She-Ra. And I think it's one of the things that drew us closer together. So we both had a love of that special before even meeting each other. So that's one we watch every year, you can bet. And my stepdaughter, 9 years old, loves it too. We took her to RetroCon one year, and there was a cosplayer dressed as Skeletor, and she went up and started talking all about when he got the Christmas spirit. And we were told we were doing parenting right, because I'm sure a lot of 9-year-olds have no idea who Skeletor is these days. So that was fun. Now, here's one I want to talk about. Now, going back to Rankin and Bass. I think we could all agree the Rankin and Bass specials are the best. And that's part of the reason why I'm not talking about them. We all know Rankin and Bass is the best. We all know Rudolph, Frosty, Santa Claus is coming to town. They're the best of the best of the best. So I really don't need to talk about them. You've seen them all. If you haven't seen them all, you should have seen them all. And that's all I got to say there. But there's one that has slipped through the cracks. It used to air every year, and it doesn't really get a lot of TV. It may get aired on ABC Family, which is now called Freeform. But you really don't see it on TV too much. It's not even the main attraction here. See this disc? Frosty's Winter Wonderland. This is the sequel to Frosty the Snowman. Not Frosty Returns. If you're watching Frosty Returns, you're watching the wrong sequel. This is the real sequel to Frosty the Snowman, Frosty's Winter Wonderland. But that's not even the movie I'm talking about. Look at the extra bonus feature here. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Let me refresh your memory. Because if you're of my generation, you probably saw it. It used to air every year. Hasn't aired in quite a while. Unless if it's on ABC Family. But not on network television. It hasn't aired in quite a while. But the story is a mouse named Albert wrote Santa a letter saying that he was nothing but a fraudulent myth. Santa gets really ticked off and returns everyone in the entire town of Junctionville's letters. Doesn't even want them. So a clockmaker named Joshua Trundle tries to build a clock that is going to play a song that's going to make Santa happy again. I love this. It's really, really, really one of my favorites. And it's got 3 great songs, 3 very memorable songs. Even a Miracle Needs a Hand, I can't remember the title of the other one. I can't remember. Give Your Heart a Try. That's it. And Christmas chimes are calling, Santa, Santa, every heartbreak calling, Santa, Santa. Great special. If you've never seen it, check it out. You got to buy Frosty's Winter Wonderland on DVD to get it. It's the bonus feature on there, and it's actually the primary reason I bought this disc. Frosty may be headlining, but it's Joshua Trundle and Albert the Mouse that actually made me buy that. That is one of the unsung Rankin and Bass classics. So what else do we have here? Here we go. I've mentioned I love the Muppets. Have I mentioned I love the Muppets? Actually, we're all Muppet. For the rest here, we're all Muppet. So anyway. Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. 1978 Christmas special with the Sesame Street characters. Now, here is what is interesting. Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. This is phenomenal. Grew up loving this, still watch it every year. But here's what's funny. 1978, this came out on PBS. PBS, who airs Sesame Street, aired this in 1978. But it's not the only Christmas special that aired in 1978 with the Sesame Street characters, because CBS aired a very special Sesame Street Christmas. This was a network special with the Sesame Street characters, and it came out the same year as this one. This is the better of the two. If you're looking for Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, don't get confused by Very Special Christmas by mistake. I got them both because I'm a Muppet fanatic. Had to have them both because of my Muppet love. But this is the better of the two. This is the one where Oscar the Grouch told Big Bird that Santa Claus can't fit down the skinny chimneys because he's too fat, so no one's going to get any presents. Which causes Big Bird to flip out and try to figure out how Santa could get down the chimneys. It's cute. It's heartwarming. We all learn a little something in the end. And it's got my all-time favorite rendition of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, sung by Bert and Ernie. And also, there is a Muppet Gift of the Magi theme that always seems to reappear. And Christmas Eve in Sesame Street is I think, the first occurrence of it, where Ernie trades his rubber ducky to Mr. Hooper for a cigar box that Bert could keep his paper clips in. But Bert traded his paper clips for a soap dish for Ernie's rubber ducky. Now, this would later on, the Muppets would later on do this whole Gift of the Magi thing again in my next one, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, in which Emmett puts a hole in the wash tub so he can win his mother a gift, and she likewise hawked his toolkit. So we get the Gift of the Magi thing going again in this. And then in A Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, they play with it again as there's a beginning sequence where everyone's trading gifts to help each other out. And it's clearly a takeoff on this. I don't remember them all. There's about 5 characters in a row who talk about, well, you bought me a this for my that, but I traded that to get you this. And they do it like in quick succession of one another. And it's pretty funny. So I just dropped Emmett Otter. But there was something I wanted to show you about this Emmett Otter, because there's several versions of Emmett Otter you could find. And I have one that is no longer on the market. You'll see that this Emmett Otter has Kermit the Frog on the cover. You won't find that anymore. At least not, maybe on eBay. I mean, they're out there, obviously. I have one. You can find one. But you won't find it in stores brand new. Because when Disney bought the Muppets, part of it is Columbia TriStar, who owns Emmett Otter. They can't put Kermit the Frog in the special. Now, if you've never seen Emmett Otter, Kermit the Frog is the narrator. The story is about 2 otters named Emmett and his mother, his ma. They're the main characters, and they're friends. Kermit's the narrator. He just tells the story. He introduces it at the beginning, closes it out at the end. But he's not in the newer versions. They cut out all Kermit's scenes because Disney controls Kermit now. I bought that before the Disney sale. And if you watch Cinema Sickness's channel, he and I were cinema hunting not long ago, and he actually bought a VHS of the Kermit edition because I pointed out to him, oh, look, Kermit's on the cover. That's one of the Kermit ones, and he picked it up. So, things Muppet fanatics notice. So, yeah, Emmett Otter. It's another one of my favorites. And I'm going to wrap it there. Those are some of my favorite holiday specials. Those are some of the ones I'm sure to watch every year without question. And obviously, Rudolph, Frosty, Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, and one more Rankin and Bass special that I don't have down here. Nestor the Long-Eared Donkey. I really like that one. It's one that I don't know. It kind of just I don't know, not to sound too sappy, but it touches my heart. What can I say? I'm a big sap, and that one you have to buy Year Without a Santa Claus, which is another classic. It's the B feature on that disc. So there you go. Didn't mention a lot of the perennials, the Grinch, things like that, because I don't need to. You're gonna watch them anyway, and well, you should. So those are just some of my favorites that maybe aren't on your radar. Like, obviously, some of these are considered classics, like Emmett Otter, but maybe He-Man and She-Ra was not something you would have watched. But anyway, Merry Christmas. Keep on wearing those pajamas, and maybe we'll do some more of these Christmas videos between now and Christmas. Maybe I'll come back and talk favorite Christmas songs. Maybe I'll come back and talk favorite Christmas themed episodes of popular TV shows. The possibilities are endless. So keep on wearing those pajamas. Merry Christmas. Look for the new episode of MegaPodzilla coming the week of Christmas with special guest Rick Goldschmidt, the Rankin Bass historian, and also we talk Star Wars Rogue One, which we will have seen by then.